Okay. I think we covered until Nirabadhaye Namaha. We did Nirvikalpa at reasonable length. We spoke about it. And then Nirabadhaye, one that cannot be sublimated, or cannot be negated, nullified. You cannot nullify the presence of that substance. You can negate everything else. You cannot negate your own existence. Nirabadhaye Namaha. Nirbhedaye Namaha. Bhedanashinyay Namaha. Nirbheda, Bheda means difference. Difference between two. So there are, when we talk about Bheda, there are three types of Bheda. Okay, let's look at this. There's a Bheda called, Bheda means difference, by the way. Yeah? The direct translation of Bheda means difference. Hindi lo chalo, bhed bhav mat dekho. Adina don't discriminate pannadanu solra. Do not discriminate appadinu solradhukku they'll say that bhed bhav mat dekho. Don't see Bheda. Bheda means difference. There are three types of differences generally in Vedantic discussions. They are called out. One is called Swajatiya Bheda. Or let's start it this way. Vijatiya Bheda. Vijatiya Bheda, Swajatiya Bheda, Swagata Bheda. Abdira mono differences. There are three types of differences. What is Vijatiya? Vijatiya is two different jati, which means there is difference between two different class of objects. Which means there is an apple and an orange. There's a sheep, there's a dog, there's a cat, there's a rat. So it's completely the jati, the class of objects are very different. So hence there is a difference between the two. Vijatiya. Swajatiya is within the same class of objects, you will have differences. Apple, if you take an apple, there's red apple, there's green apple, there's Adam's apple.
Thank God you didn't say pineapple.
Oh, pineapple is a great example. And then you have Steve Jobs' apple. All the
Vibhachi, whatever that first Veda, right? Not the second one.
Vijatiya is between two completely different classes.
Oh, so that Steve Jobs.
Correct. So Swajatiya is within the same class of objects. There are differences. So you can talk about cats, right? There's actually a series called Cats on Netflix. Those who are interested, watch it. Those who are interested in cats, watch it. It talks very interesting things about cats. So tiger is a cat, a small cat is a cat. There are different kinds of cats you have, right? So cat is a class of animal. It's a particular class, but within that there are differences. Right? So this is Swajatiya, the same jati, but there are differences. Then there is Swagata. Swagata Bheda is the third type of difference, which is within the same object, there are differences between different parts of the object. So if you look at a tree, leaf, the stem, the bark, the twig, the fruit, the flower, all of that. These are different parts of what you call as a tree. Tree is a composition or a composite structure of all of these things put together, right? And these are different parts of what is called as a tree. Like me, if I or you look at each one of us, we've got different parts of a body. I've got the hands, I've got the legs, I've got the face, I've got the torso, different parts of my body. So Swagata Bheda, so which means there are differences even within the object, different parts of the object. So by and large, all differences can be classified as Vijatiya, completely two different classes. or Swajatiya, which means within the same class, different types, or Swagata, in the same object, different parts of the object, different aspects of the object. She is Nirbhedaye Namaha. Shiva is saying like different types of white blood cells. Yeah, absolutely. Anything that forms part of you, and the composite parts that form you, if you pull them out separately, you take a flower, for example. Flower is made up of a petal, a stem, the pollen, all of that put together is a flower. So if you start dissecting the flower into different parts, different components, that's Swagata Bheda. Now, the Nama here is Nirbhedaye Namaha. Nirbheda means she does not have any such differences, which means that entity that we call as Parashakti or Devi, that exists in everything, in all forms, in all classes. So which means it's not that if I take a sheep and a cow, it's not that this principle doesn't exist. If you take a human being and a cat, it doesn't mean that this principle doesn't exist in one or the other. It exists in both. What is the difference between a lower form versus a more evolved form of a being? Is the differences between how much you reflect that principle, that consciousness of that principle, how much of it is reflected is how you are differentiated. If consciousness is even between us and somebody who's much more evolved than us, you know that person is able to express that consciousness in a much more vivid way. Between an animal and a human being, why is an animal not able to express it? I'm talking in general. There is probably you have a pet at home, it's able to express. That's a very specific example. But in general, animals do not have the capabilities that human beings carry in terms of thinking, in terms of imagination, in terms of processing, in terms of meditation, in terms of recognizing who am I, going through these inquiry. All of these things the animal is not able to do. Human being is able to do, is because this particular consciousness element that we're talking about is expressed through this form much more effectively. So this entity, this principle, this consciousness exists in everything. I'm saying everything, not just every being, in everything. Yet it reflects or expresses it at various degrees. So she is Nirbhedaye Namaha means she does not, it is not that she does not exist, or it does not mean that it does not exist. It is just that it doesn't reflect. Some of these forms, some of these objects don't reflect as much. What is the difference between the mud, the soil, and the flower that's coming out of the soil? The flower is able to express consciousness in a much more vibrant way than the soil. It's coming out from the soil. It's coming out from the same soil. From the seed in the soil, by means of consuming the soil, this flower is coming out. It's just that that form has the ability to express life, express this consciousness more vibrantly. Right? So essentially the idea is this Nirbheda means it is not that it does not exist. It exists through everything without distinction, without differentiation. Okay? Nirbhedaye Namaha. Without any differentiation, it exists in the Vijatiya Bheda, which means two classes, completely two different types of objects. This principle exists. Swajatiya, within the same class of objects, this principle exists. Swagata, in this form, it's not that my hand does not have consciousness, my legs have. If you sit long enough, you'll know that the legs not having Your legs have gone to sleep. You feel it doesn't, you're not able, it's become numb. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have consciousness, just that it's become numb and you've sat long, right? But the idea there is consciousness is, where do you point yourself to say conscious? I'm conscious here, there, where? Where is consciousness? It's all pervading. Sarva Vyapi. Sarva Vyapi. This consciousness is all pervasive. And you are instantaneously aware of your own body to the same extent in all parts of your body. Swagata Bheda does not exist. This Bheda, that this principle of consciousness exists here and does not exist here, is not there, which means it exists, it's all pervasive, it's equally existing everywhere. Nirbhedaye Namaha. So, 3 types of differences: Vijatiya, Swajatiya, Swagata. All these 3 types of differences is not limiting this particular entity. This entity that we talk of as Parashakti, as Brahman, as Sadashiva, as whatever, is not limited by any of these differences. That is what it means. Nirbhedaye Namaha. Bhedanashinye Namaha. The next Nama is Bhedanashinye Namaha. What does that mean? Bhedanashini means if you are in touch with that truth, if you come to recognition of the truth within you, you will also recognize that there is no Bheda. The Bheda drops. Bheda Nashinye. Nashini means to remove, to destroy. She destroys Bheda. What does it mean? She destroys this concept of differentiation that we carry. The multitude, the multiplicity of experience that we carry is not us. The one who experiences is the singular me. I am experiencing the multitude. I don't know why I'm getting stuck with that word. The multiplicity of this world that we're experiencing. The multiplicity is experienced by me, who's the singular person, the singular entity. So where is Bheda? Bheda, like for instance, even the roles that we play. I play the role of a father, I play the role of a son, the role of a friend, the role of an employee, the role of an employer, the role of a teacher, the role of a student. All of these roles I play. Which means this, I am a teacher, I am a student, I am a professional, I am a banker, I am a... What remains common in all of this? I. The I remains common. The problem is our association is with the RHS, the right hand side. I am a this, I am a this, I am a this, I am a that. Our association and identity is with the right side. When you associate yourself with the left side, there is only one I. When you identify yourself with the right side, you are identifying with every different thing that you come across in your life as an experience, as a person, as an emotion, as a thought, everything that comes on the right side. There is no end to it. Classic way of saying in Vedanta, I cannot sum up all that I'm experiencing on the right side and say that you sum it up all, this plus this plus this, it becomes I. You can't. The I is not a summation of all that you experience. The I is the one who experiences. You can keep adding experiences to it. You can always add new experiences, new moments, new thoughts, new emotions, never ending, ever growing. You can keep adding, but the I remains constant. This is where it is meant that I is infinite. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. This I that we are talking about, when we say it is infinite, it is all pervasive, it is everywhere, all of that we talk about this I. What it means to say is this I is constant irrespective of all of this, all the multiplicity that you experience. So imagine assuming you've lived 80 years of your life, and you say that I have experienced everything that needs to be experienced. Okay? But then suddenly tomorrow, there's a different experience that comes. Can you say, no, I have, of course, you can say, I have had enough of it. I'm not saying that. You may psychologically feel you're done with it. But that when it comes to you, it's not that you don't have space for it, right?
Definition of done.
Definition of done. Agile.
Not done yet.
Scrum Master talking. So the correct, you're never really done in terms of experiences. As long as you associate with yourself experiences, until you die, there'll be some experience that you will encounter. You may not have encountered it before, but then there's always space for more. That is what it means that I can experience the infinite. You understand these terms when they're used, how to perceive this. When say I am the infinite means any number of experiences you bring, I can experience. You can add it unto me. You can add it to me. Even if you don't add it to me, I just remain the same. Whether you add it to me or don't add it to me, I am the same. Absolutely understood. Correct? That's the beauty of this whole way of seeing this thing. So when the perception comes to Bhedanashini, when you're saying Bhedanashini Namaha, when we bring our perception to this point where I'm associating myself with the left hand side, the I, not the I am whatever, or I am, all of these on the right side, I'm not associating with those things on the right, because those things will come, they will stay, they will go. They'll come, they'll stay, they'll go. Experiences come, they remain with me, they go. Thoughts come, they remain, they go. People come, they remain, they go. Even if people are with you for almost a lifetime, they still go. What remains is the I. So when the recognition of this I is there, Bheda Nashini, there is that Bheda drops completely. Inside you. When you see outside, of course, there is still multiplicity there. It is still the very variegated universe that you perceive. It's so different. Red is never blue. Blue is never green. You can't say that I just want red all the time. I just want green all the time. You will have all of this. And there'll be a mixture of red and green. There'll be a mixture of blue and yellow. All of that will also come. So when the attention goes to the nirbheda, that which is without distinction in you, when the attention goes to that, then distinction drops. There is no further distinction inside you. You will recognize that everything else will keep happening. Everything else will keep happening. Even your good things will happen and bad things will also happen. Good will also come and go. Bad will also come and go. There is a nice story. Irfan Khan, I was watching an interview by Irfan Khan. Those who know this actor, brilliant actor. He passed away recently, right? A little while ago. He was narrating a story. YouTube may have watched. There's this king, a reasonably wise king, who was running a reasonably prosperous kingdom. The kingdom started declining in prosperity, in wealth, in people's longevity, in his ability to maintain the kingdom and all of that. It started declining. Out of desperation, he went to a guru. He sought a guru, and the guru gave him 2 amulets, taviz. In Hindi, it's called taviz. In English, it's called amulets. He gives him 2 amulets, and there is something written in that. He says, the first one, he writes number 1, and he says, open this when you are at the bottommost, rock bottom of your condition. Then he asks, what about the other one, Gurudev? He says, open this when you are at the peak of your success. Okay, he gives him 2. So the first one, then, so what happens? Okay, he takes it from the Gurudev and he goes away. And then his decline continues to happen, and he hits the rock bottom. When he hits the rock bottom, then he remembers, oh, Gurudev had asked me to look at this. Then he picked that up, and then he opened it, and the Gurudev had written, don't worry, this shall pass. Okay. Then he got some consolation. Okay, my Guru has told this shall pass. And then slowly after that, things started becoming okay. He started regaining his popularity, regaining his wealth, regaining his kingdom. Everything started getting better. And then it went on for a while, and then he was really a popular king. He had amassed a lot of wealth and all of that, and he was at the peak of his success. And then it suddenly occurred to me, oh, Gurudev had given another amulet for me to see, number 2. Oh, kidhar hai? Let me go check that out. Goes, opens his drawer somewhere, several years ago, he's kept it there. Exactly. Umaji said it. So he opens it and says, don't worry, this shall also pass. So Irfan Khan said this story. It was nice. The way he narrated was pretty good. And he was telling it in a way that he didn't allow either failure nor success to impact him. For that, he said this story. But for us, when we look at Nirbhedaye Namaha, Bhedanashinye Namaha, any differentiation that you perceive is not in you, it is in the outside. Inside you, there is absolutely no Bheda. There is absolutely no differentiation. You are the same individual, the same I that is existing, that has been existing, and that will continue to exist for God knows how long. You all come with a curse of immortality. By nature, we are immortal, right? So there's absolutely. So when we go to that, when we look at that, then Nirbhedaye Namaha means no differentiation. Bhedanashinye Namaha, you touch that, you will know that all differences drop. Okay. So that is Nama 179. So we'll pause here today. Yes, Shiva.
And all differences will drop, Nana, in practically, I mean, in daily life. Those differences are needed, Leah.
Transactional world, you require it. You cannot go and, slap the other guy and say, I'm only slapping myself. You know what you'll get back, right? You'll get a slap and a kick. So, Suit Samit, you'll get it with interest. The point is, transactional world, you have to recognize, you have to respect and honor the differences. What we're talking about is when difference becomes discrimination. See, differentiating is important because you live in a transactionary world. When difference becomes discrimination, then you suffer. That is where ignorance sets in. Discrimination is that you don't see the fundamental truth that everything is one, all are one. At the end of the day, it's all, it sources back to that unity, that oneness. If you discriminate, then you start judging. If you start judging, then you start comparing. If you start comparing, then you start competing. If you start competing, then you start suffering. Right? So discriminate, judge, compare, compete, suffering, all of this is packaged because Bheda is not a problem in the outside world. See, even the Panchabhutas are 5 in number. Right? Prithvi, Apas, Agni, Vayu, Akasha. They're 5 in number. They're not 1. They're 5 in number. And the 5 has become 500 million, billion, trillion. That's not the problem. The problem is you say, hey, Agni is better than Vayu. Compare. Agni is stronger than Keno Upanishad. There is a story. Maybe I'll take just a minute. Keno Upanishad is a beautiful story at the end of in Keno Upanishad, where Indra, not Indra, I think it'll be a slightly longer story. I'll tell it another time, maybe. Remind me. It's a beautiful story about how the devatas, different devatas come and try to show their prowess, show that they are powerful, more powerful than the other. And then how Sadashiva or Brahman comes in a certain form to prove to them that you are essentially only an aspect, you are a function. You're not you. The truth that impels or propels you, you cannot destroy it. You cannot, it's a story that way. So it's a beautiful story. Maybe another time. But that is the idea, Shiva. The idea is not of differentiation. The problem is discrimination. The problem is discrimination. So don't differentiate is good because you get the beautiful world outside. Discriminate is a problem because you start. I'm not talking about the Viveka, the Vedanta, discrimination of the Vedanta between the untruth and the truth. No, I'm not talking about that discrimination. That discrimination is required to take you into Kaivalya. The discrimination that I'm indicating here is the discrimination in our transactions that we show.
Perceptive judgment.
Correct. So that is
So the Raga Dvesha all comes in under this.
From there.
Appo Bedanashini nu sonna she's removing that discrimination or just removing the difference itself?
No, she removes this. She takes you back into that source within you to show that that source is you. Don't get drawn by these differences that are out there. You are this. You are this entity which is this source within you, which is not impacted by any of this. You operate whatever you need to operate. There is nobody who tells you do this, do that, or don't do this, don't do that. Source means the soul. It could mean the soul. It could mean the Atma that we refer to as Atma, Jivatma, Brahman, Paramatma, whatever. The essence within you that you recognize, which is devoid of all these differentiations. It is devoid of all differentiations. The stories that we saw. Whatever happens, you are still there. You are still watching. We are talking about that. So by Bhedanashini, you are running out in the differences, trying to search. She's trying to say that no, this is where you are. This is where you exist. You touch that, then all the Bheda disappears. The Bheda disappears.
Parallel life, it's like parallel lives.
It's not a parallel. It is something that, in a way, it is. It is what you once you recognize within you. Whatever transaction you need to do, you continue to do in the outside. But you live an internal life till such point where there is no Bheda between internal and external also. When that will also merge completely. There's no differentiation. We spoke about Savikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So those are things There is no differentiation between the inside and the outside. Antar Jyoti, Bahir Jyoti, Pratyak Jyoti Paratparaha. Atma Jyoti, Swayam Jyoti, Jyotir Jyotir Shivosmyaham. This Jyoti which is outside, I see the same Jyoti outside. What I see outside is I see inside. If your name happens to be Jyoti, your husband will see you inside and outside both. Okay. So that is the, so this is the experience of the Mahan masters. This is how they are. Slowly, as we go through this process, we also contemplate and we also use this time. Now Shivratri is coming. Let's use this opportunity to contemplate and spend more time and try to spend that within ourselves. Try to be more, I'm not saying introverted, introspective. Try to be more introspective, contemplative. So it will be a beautiful use of the time. Yeah. So we'll pause here. Wish you all a wonderful Mahashivratri. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikayeti Samarpayami Sadgurunathayeti Samarpayami.